Well, hi, I'm Robert Knoll. Welcome to the Guitar Zone. I want to talk to you about guitar technology. I figure this is good for us to get into because as an aspiring guitarist, you may be a beginner, a wannabe, intermediate, professional, advanced guitar player, whatever level, you should know about the available technologies for learning guitar to play better, the technologies I use, and that maybe you should explore or do an adventure. Some of these technologies can be expensive, but I just want to outline a little bit of them, go over some of them, so that you can message me, send me an email, and we could talk about them more. It's possible in other videos I do in the future that I will spotlight some of these technologies I use and go into them deeper. Look at the basics, okay? There are certain technologies I use with all my students that are very important. Guitar has gone a long ways in the years, since the days of everything being acoustic to electric guitars and amplifiers, and then into the time that amplifiers got more technology, guitars started getting more technologies, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, always progressing and progressing at a faster pace. With the advent of computers, well, it's a whole nother world. And in the future, we're looking at artificial intelligence. There just may well be a chip that they can insert, implant in you, and that chip will do all the great things you've ever wanted to do and be the greatest help. Very well could be the way that we go. Okay, well, let me talk about a few things. Okay, computers. Let's start with computers. I'm an Apple person. I love Apple products because they were at the forefront of using Apple in the music business. In recording studios before Windows or any of that got going, Apple has been there. Steve Jobs, the whole thing, he centered around a lot of the arts, and we've had wonderful technologies come from Apple, and they seem to be at the cutting edge and cusp of technology and ideas. Some of them have played out, some not. But I still believe if you're going to get a computer, anything to do with technology, I think Apple's a great way to go. It's expensive. You may have to take out the loan. You may have to find a way, but it will be worth it, I'm sure, in the long run. And so much of their stuff is geared towards pros also, and professional studios and such, musicians, performance. I have Apple MacBook, of course. I usually always have a MacBook. I have an Apple iPad, and the iPad is really useful. I recommend for my students because it's portable, but yet they can see some of the applications that we use that I'll talk about, and they're a little more affordable. You can go to the Apple store and go into refurbished products and even get a deal on some of this stuff. And even the stores like the Target and different retailers will have specials on some of these things. iPads are very useful. They're small, but you can also use that technology to go to big screens. And the same thing with your iPhone. It also integrates with your computer, with your iPad. And I don't have an Apple Watch, but that integrates too. You could actually have a plug into your applications and your performances through your watch. So all of these things allow us to run applications that would be useful with teaching, to play back backing tracks, to play charts, to do applications that deal with reading music, reading charts. A lot of learning. And also recording studio, to have a backing, not only a backing band, but be able to record it. And actually you could record albums, or your Apple computer, or possibly even your iPad. They're so powerful now. And all of these products of Apple work together. That's what's great. Now you can also use USB drives or the Thunderbolt drives, different levels of that going all the time. But they're useful because you can plug them in and store whatever you've been working on, your projects, and put them on other computers, other places, and travel them or share them with people easily. As far as guitar technology in the computer field, I really recommend Apple computers. Apple products, they all work together in sync. They're made to work together. And the iCloud is great for storing. It's not that expensive to have lots of terabytes to store your guitar recordings, your videos, so much stuff. The applications I use with my student, I use an application called iReal Pro. That's the most important one I use because it allows my students to have a backing band in all different styles. Now, I'm not going to go into too much of it in this video because I'll have a special video just for iReal Pro, a tutorial maybe in how to get into using it. It allows us to write songs, it allows us to use backing tracks, to actually use this not only for practice, but for gigs. If you were doing a solo gig, or to share with your bandmates and use on gigs or use for rehearsals, it's just the possibilities, the ways you can use iReal Pro. It's really a wonderful app. Besides iReal Pro, I use a Boss Waza tuner. I got this on my iPhone and I have it on my iPad and my computer. Well, Boss is the company. The Waza is the Japanese company that made it look the way it does. And it's a guitar tuner. It's just like one of those clip-ons or, the technology is there for clip-on tuners or tuners you might have on your pedal board or whatever. But this one's on your phone or whatever you want it to be. You hit it and it's free. Didn't pay a cent for it. Wonderful tuner. It looks great and it works. And it can do different tunings and different frequencies. And you'll be very happy if you have a Boss Waza guitar tuner. And you can put that against other tuners. There's lots of them on the app market, on the application market. The Slow Downer, I have that. It allows you to slow down songs, slow down tunes that you're working on. So you can steer them at a slow speed to work out solos and chords and such. Capo is another application I use. Guitar Layers I use for scales. There's all kinds of scale applications, backing tracks, so much out there, and you should explore the applications. Some are very, very good. Some are okay. Some are, maybe not. So next I want to get into, besides the applications, well, one last thing about Apple. Apple has GarageBand, which is a basic recording studio, and it's full-blown in the way that it offers you effects. If you have electric guitar or microphones, you have uses of all different kinds of amps and effects, and it's all in that one app. And you can record your songs or record jam tracks, and you've actually got a recording studio, and they are quality, professional quality. But the higher grade, the super professional, is what we call Logic Pro X. This is what you will find in actual recording studios all over the world. Of course, you have the other ones that they use Pro, but Logic Pro X is the Apple full-blown, many tracks as you want, all the synthesizers, the effects, everything's on Logic Pro. And there's another Apple application called MainStage. MainStage allows you to use a pedal board to use all of these applications that are very reasonably affordable, and loopers, flangers, distortions, all different kinds of effects that you can access through what we call MainStage. So those applications, GarageBand, Logic Pro X, MainStage, you should look up and read about them. Guitar effects. Well, there's huge technology out there with guitar effects, okay? The ones are most important for my students is overdrive or distortion, because we don't always want it clean. We want to imitate dirty sounds. I say for students to understand and use the looping or loopers. They allow you to be playing something and it records and plays it back, and you can be playing over top of it. Or you can use these loopers in performances. They're wonderful. And there's all different kinds of levels of loopers. Something you would study and really learn about and try different ones. And it could be a really valuable technology for you to use for practicing. To be able to play something back to it, save it, and then be able to loop it, play against it. And loopers, you can keep adding more and more parts. You start with the rhythm, then you start with a little bass line maybe, then you add in a couple riffs, and you can build on it. And they can get really crazy, and a lot of people use them and get really good at them, where one person performing sounds like an orchestra. It's really, really cool. Because the orchestral effects could be from having the technology of a guitar synthesizer. I've owned a few of them in my life. The Roland guitar synthesizers were my favorite. And what's so great about synthesizers? When you have a synthesizer, you are plugged into the world of keyboard synthesizers. Your guitar is no longer a guitar. It is any instrument you want it to be. Pianos, organs, it can be any number of pianos, string sections, orchestral instruments, horn sections, string sections, vocals, choirs. It just is almost endless about what you can do. New sounds that you can synthesize and invent your own sounds. The sounds of the Moog synthesizers, the ARP synthesizers of the hippie years and such that you hear on great recordings. You can imitate these and play these on your guitar. And then you can loop them, and all of a sudden you're an orchestra. So guitar synthesizers is something, they've gotten smaller and cheaper, but some of the old ones, like the Roland ones that I've used in the last 10, 15 years, they're very intricate. You have a special cord that plugs in your electric guitar or whatever you have your pickup in, and then you've got a board that allows you to create. And there's a lot of understanding. You got to really learn, but they can do giant things for your playing. So synthesizer, something you should really look at and hear. I'm sure if you go on YouTube, and talking about YouTube, well, you should be using the technology here to investigate your overdrive, loopers, chorus, flanger effects are wonderful to have. You can learn a lot technology by going on Wikipedia and looking for guitar technology. There's other things I recommend. You should probably have back to Apple iTunes, because this allows you for a small fee every month to have access to just about any song you can imagine. And you don't have to keep buying things. You pay that one bill. My Guitar Zone. There's lots of stuff on here, and there's great stuff. If you're on Facebook, there's tons, thousands, millions of musicians. And they've got all kinds of things they're doing. They're like guitar cults, okay? And all different styles for different musicians, artists. Reddit is another one that has it. They have guitar lessons. Just a lot of stuff out there on YouTube, and using Google and using search engines to find the technology. Anything that you can think of, you can type and learn about. Like I said, the ones I use the most with my students and learning is iReal Pro. And from there, I like you to be able to use that on your Apple technology. I like the Boss Tuner. And then there's other ones that I sometimes recommend up the road. Technology is going leaps and bounds. We're looking at, like I said, artificial intelligence at some time. You can have a variety of different chips implanted in you somewhere, and there you go. You don't even have to carry around your rig. Oh, also, I use a head rush pedal board. And my amplification technology is Mesa Boogie. I've used many other kind of amplifiers. I love Mesa Boogie, high tech, and I use a Fender Vibro King 100 watt. So I have used the Marshall technologies, but for me, the Mesa Boogie is wonderful. It has all of the extra things that I need to do with running my amp at different levels, different ohmages, and using my pedal boards and other effects in through the amp sequencing, so everything is uniform. High technology. But if you're going to perform these days and do internet online performances and teaching and podcasts, and you're going to do gigs, festivals, and lounges, clubs, whatever kind of gigs you're doing, Having the right technology or technology that works for you is really important. So I may do an update on this technology up the road. But for right now, I just want you to be aware of it and get into it. Research it. Use it. It can help you. It can help you learn guitar and play better. It can help your ear training, your technique, your skills. And you'll be able to hear when other guitar players are using technologies. And maybe technologies you never heard before that may be something that you want to get into. So don't be a stranger to technology. Don't be afraid of it. Listen to it. Some of it you'll like, some of it you'll hate, some of it you'll go, oh, pretty cool. Some of it you're going to just be amazed and go, wow. But before you invest the money and put the money into it, research it a lot. See what someone else has a similar technology, because that's usually the way it is. Different companies will have the same technology doing it in a different way. Doing it in a different way and at a different price. So study it. Get into it. It's Robert Knoll. Guitar technology is groovy. Way groovy.